Hello friends and welcome to the learning series of Azure. We are discussing about the Azure Compute, and today's video, this is the part 2 of the Azure High Availability, and in this video we are looking into the demo how to create the high availability. So as you know very well how the availability set help us to make a high redundancy for our VMs. Consider that we required the high availability, and for getting the high availability we have two type of mechanism that is responsible to give the high availability for our VMs, and that is a fault domain and update domain. And as we discuss in the part first, whenever we create and place our virtual machine in the availability set, it will distribute across those VM into the fault domain and update domain. So how many update domain and fault domain we can create? Means we will get to utilize in the Azure. So if you talk about that, so we can create up to 3 fault domain and up to 20 update domain for our application or the VM where that we are placing on the Azure platform. So limitation is that you cannot go beyond the 3 update fault domain, and you can you can create you can choose the fault domain from 2 to up to 20 update domain. So like when you configured, like take an example, you want to configure your VMs in 3 fault domain and 5 update domain. So how the availability set can distribute your virtual machine within this fault domain and update domain. So let's move on this slide. So I will show you how it will work. Like whenever your first machine you place into the availability set, so it will by default place into the fault domain 0 and update domain 0. And once you configure your second virtual machine in the availability set, it will place your second VM into the fault domain 1 and update domain 1. Okay, and once you configure the third VM will go into the update fault domain 2 and update domain 2. Now your fault domain is over, right? You have the limit for to choose the 3 fault domain. Now the fourth VM spin up. So how it will work? It will start with the 0. So your fourth VM will be moved into the fault domain 0 and it will configure into the update domain 3. Okay, in the same way, like once you configure your fifth VM, the fifth VM will be go into the fault domain 1 and update domain 4. Now update domain 4 means you have reached your limit of 5 update domain. So in that case, whenever the 6th VM will be spin up, it will spin that virtual machine into the fault domain 2, but now this time it will use the update domain 0 for that 6th virtual machine. According to that, according in the same way, you can configure your update domain up to 20, and according to this placing or distributing the virtual machine into the fault domain or update domain, it will place your virtual machine. You can do the calculation when your fault domain goes down, how many VMs will be available to serve the VMs, or if your particular update domain goes down, so how many VMs will be there to serve your application. So let's move on the portal and we will see how we can configure the availability set. So once you search the service called availability set, once you open the availability set, you have to click on the add button where you will get the option to create the availability set. So basic detail that we need to provide here, the resource group name, then we have to provide the name for this availability set. Once you provide the name, then we have to specify the region, in which region we are going to create this availability set. And next option is the fault domain. As we discussed, we can create the fault domain up to 3, and update domain we can start it we can make up to the 20. but for this particular demo we can take update domain up to the 5. So in a next advanced option, we can configure the proximity group. Then we should specify the tag for this particular availability set, and the next is it will validate your configuration, and once the validation is passed, you can create the availability set. So it will start deploying the availability set as per your configuration, whatever the name that you have specified, and now your availability set is configured. So once you land into your availability set, so you will able to find out how many VMs are configured for this availability set. So we have just created this availability set, so currently there is no VMs configured in this particular availability set. But let me show you from where we can configure the VMs for in a availability set. So while you are configuring the virtual machine, you will get the option to configure the virtual machine in the availability set. Once click on the Azure virtual machine, and to add the virtual machine, you have to specify here the availability option. So you can choose that it should be your availability set, and make sure that you can choose the correct region where your availability set is configured. And your region should be same for your virtual machine and the availability set, so that you will get to you can find out the availability set available in that particular region. So right now we have just created a single availability set on this particular region, so I'm going to choose this particular region. So once you configure this option, so your virtual machine will be placed into the availability set. So that's it for this video, guys, and let's see what we have covered in our part 1 video and part 2 video. So in part 1 and part 2 we have covered what is the availability in the Azure. We have discussed about the availability option available in the Azure. Then we have discussed about the how we can achieve the availability set. Then we have discussed about the availability set. To understand availability set, we discuss about the fault domain and update domain, and we discuss about the availability zone. So in the same way we can create the availability zone also. So that's it for this video, and we will meet into the upcoming video. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.